Chapter 1. A Ticket with My Name. My name is Elena. I am 67 years old. And today I have a ticket. A real plane ticket. In my hand. My name is printed on it. Elena Martinez. I keep reading it again and again. I smile. Then I cry. I cannot believe it. I say, "Is this really mine?" The woman at the counter laughs and says, "Yes, ma'am, enjoy your flight." I nod, but my legs feel weak. My hands are shaking. I am flying to Dubai. Can you believe that? I still can't. I never thought this day would come. I thought it was only a dream that stayed quiet in my heart for many, many years. People say dreams are for the young. They say, "You are too old now." They say, "It's too late for you." But they don't know me. They don't know what I've been through. They don't know how long I've waited. They don't know how hard I fought. When I was a child, I didn't even know what Dubai was. I didn't know what dreams were. I didn't have time for that. My family was poor, very poor. We didn't have a bed. We didn't even have a door, just four walls and hope. And sometimes, even hope was hard to find. My father worked all day, my mother too. I remember my father saying, "If you don't work, you don't eat." So I worked. I worked when I was 9. I cleaned floors. When I was 12, I sold food on the street. When I was 15, I stopped going to school. I said I would go back one day, but I never did. Life moved fast. There was always something else. Always someone who needed me. I became a wife. Then I became a mother. My husband said, "We must save money." But there was never money to save. There was always something to buy. Food, clothes, books for the children. I didn't complain. I was happy. Or maybe I just told myself I was. One day, many years ago, I was sitting in a waiting room. I picked up a magazine. I turned the pages slowly. And then I saw it. A big city. So bright. So full of lights. Tall buildings that looked like glass. A place that didn't seem real. Under the photo, one word, Dubai. I read it out loud. Dubai. I had never heard that name before, but it stayed with me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that photo, that city, that dream, and I whispered to myself, "One day, I will go there." My children laughed when I told them. "Mama," they said, "that place is too far. That is for rich people." I laughed too. But deep inside I said, "Why not me?" I didn't know how. I didn't know when. I didn't even know if it was possible. But the dream was born. Small, quiet, but alive. And now, here I am, at the airport, holding the ticket. It took me a lifetime to get here, but I got here. I look around and see people running, talking, laughing. Everyone is busy, but I stand still. I take a deep breath. I touch the paper in my hand. My name is there, Elena Martinez. My heart is full. I think about that little girl with no shoes. I think about the woman who worked all day. I think about the mother who gave everything. And now I think about the dream that never died. This is not just a ticket. This is proof. Proof that it is never too late. Proof that old women can dream too, that we can hope, that we can fly. I smile again, this time with no tears. I whisper, thank you, not to anyone, just to life, just to the dream. Because this dream is no longer a dream. It is real. And it begins today. Chapter 2. A Life of Work and Sacrifice. I was not born lucky. I was not born rich. I was born tired. Tired from the beginning. My mother said I came into this world with my eyes wide open, as if I already knew life would be hard. My father worked every day. My mother too. There was no rest, no breaks, just work and more work. And I followed them. I started working when I was 9. I cleaned houses. I washed clothes for neighbors. I carried water. I did what I could. I didn't play like other children. I didn't dream. I didn't know how. I only knew how to help, how to survive. When I was 12, I started selling food in the street. Tamales, juice, bread, whatever we had. I stood outside in the heat, in the rain, sometimes alone, sometimes with my mother. I learned to smile at strangers. I learned to count coins fast. I learned how to say please and thank you, even when I was hungry. Then I turned 15. That year, I stopped going to school. It was not a big moment. No one cried. No one said goodbye. I just didn't go one day. I said, I will go back soon. But I never did. Life needed me, and life doesn't wait. Years passed. I worked more. I grew up fast. Then one day I met a man. He was quiet, kind, and strong. He made me laugh. We got married. We didn't have much, but we had each other. Soon we had children. 1, then 2, then 3. And just like that, I became a mother. My world changed again. It became smaller, but heavier. Every day I woke up before the sun. I cooked, cleaned, washed, helped with school. Then I worked. I cleaned houses. I sold food. I did laundry for others. I didn't stop. I didn't rest. There was no time. I gave my children everything I could. And what I didn't have, I found a way to give anyway. My husband was a good man. He worked hard. He said, we must save money. But there was never money to save. School fees, doctor visits, shoes, milk, every coin had a place. We laughed sometimes. We argued too, but we stayed strong. We were a team. I would sometimes talk about traveling, just in passing. Maybe one day when we are old, I would say. He would laugh. Travel where? To the next street? And I laughed too. But the dream of Dubai was still there. Not loud, not bright, but always there. Quiet, hidden, alive. Then, when I was 61, something changed. My husband died, just like that. One day he was there. The next day, gone. My house felt empty. My heart, too. People came. They brought food. They hugged me. They cried. Then they said, now you must rest. You have done enough. Take it easy. I smiled, but inside I didn't agree. I didn't want to rest. I didn't want to stop. I wanted to live. I wanted to feel something again. I wanted to dream again. I looked around my small house. I looked at the sky. I thought of that photo. Dubai. That dream. Still waiting. I said to myself, maybe now. Maybe it's my time. It sounded strange, even to me. I was 61. My back hurt. My knees were weak. My hair was gray. But something inside me was strong. Something inside me was young. I was not done. I was just starting. I didn't know how I would do it. I didn't have a plan. But I had the feeling. And that feeling was louder than all the voices telling me to stop. So I didn't stop. I made a promise to myself. I said, Elena, you have given your whole life to others. Now, give this one thing to yourself. I didn't need clothes. I didn't need gold. I didn't want to be rich. I just wanted to go. Just once. Just to say I did it. That I made it. That I kept my word to that younger version of me. That tired girl who never had time to dream. I wanted to give her a gift. The gift of a sky full of clouds. A seat by the window. A place far away, a place called Dubai. Chapter 3. The jar that held my dream. After my husband died, I felt lost. The house was quiet. My children were grown. They had their own lives. I sat in my chair many nights, looking at nothing. I thought maybe this is it. Maybe this is the end of my road. But then I remembered something. The dream. That photo in the magazine. That city called Dubai. And I said to myself again, maybe now. Maybe it's my time. But life doesn't listen to dreams so easily. My body started to change. My back hurt every day. My legs were slow. My hands shook sometimes. I went to the doctor. He looked at me kindly. He said, "You must stop working now. Your body is tired." I nodded, but inside I said, if I stop, I stop dreaming. I couldn't rest. I didn't want to rest. I still had something to do. So I started again, slowly, carefully. I cleaned one house a week, then 2, then 3. I made tamales every Saturday night. I sold them on Sundays at the church. I told myself, just a little, just enough. I came home tired, but I was smiling. I had something to work for. I had a purpose. And then one day, I found a small empty jar. I washed it clean. I took a piece of paper and wrote one word, Dubai. I taped it to the front. I started putting coins inside. Just a few. Every time I had some extra, I dropped it in the jar. The sound of coins was like music to me. It was not easy. Every month something happened. The fridge broke. The roof started leaking. My son needed help with rent. My granddaughter needed school supplies. I looked at the jar. I opened it. I gave the money. Then I closed the jar and started again. Some months I saved only a few coins. Some months, nothing at all. Sometimes I cried. Alone at night, I sat with the jar in my lap. I whispered, maybe this dream is too big. Maybe it's not for someone like me. I felt small. I felt tired. But then I remembered my mother's words. Words she told me when I was a girl. If you walk slow but never stop, one day you will arrive. I held on to that. I kept walking, even when it hurt. I kept saving, even when I had nothing. I didn't tell many people. It was my quiet secret, my silent promise to myself. The jar became something more than glass. It became my hope. Every coin inside was a memory, a sacrifice, a small piece of my dream. Sometimes I held the jar close. I whispered to it, like a friend. We will get there. Just wait. People said I was old. People said I was silly. Even my children said, "Mama, forget about Dubai." But I couldn't. I just couldn't. One day, I saw a flight online. It was a special offer, only $400. My heart jumped. I ran to the jar. I counted the money. I had 310. I smiled. I needed only 90 more, maybe in one more month. But the next day, the offer was gone. I had missed it. My heart broke. I felt cold all over. I wanted to throw the jar. I wanted to give up. I told my daughter, maybe I was foolish. Maybe this is not for me. She hugged me. She said, "Mama, you are already a hero. You gave us everything." But I didn't want to be a hero. I didn't want medals or praise. I wanted to go to Dubai. Just once. Just to see it. To feel it. To say I did it. That night, I sat with the jar. I looked at it for a long time. It was almost empty again. But I said, "We start again." I took a deep breath. I wiped my tears. I stood up and got ready for the next Sunday. More tamales, more coins, more hope. I was slow. I was tired, but I was still moving, and that's how the jar became a part of my life. It was never full, but it was never empty for long. I had nothing extra, but I had faith. Faith in small steps. Faith in late dreams. Faith that even an old woman can still arrive if she never stops walking. Chapter 4. The day I almost gave up. One afternoon, I sat by the window with my jar. I counted every coin. I had $310. I had never seen that much saved at once. It felt like a treasure. My hands shook with hope. That night I went online. I searched again for flights. My eyes opened wide. There it was, a flight to Dubai. Only $400. A special offer. Just for a short time. My heart beat fast. I whispered, maybe this is it. I checked the dates. I looked at my jar. I did the math. I was only $90 short. Just one more month. One more month of tamales. One more month of cleaning. I could do it. The next morning, I rushed to the computer. I clicked on the link. The flight was gone. I stared at the screen. I refreshed the page. I looked again. Nothing. The offer was gone. The price had jumped. It was now too much. I leaned back in the chair. I felt empty, like the jar, like my hands, like my chest. I sat for a long time. Then I walked slowly to the kitchen. I told my daughter, I missed it. Maybe this dream is not for me. My voice was soft. I didn't cry. But I felt something break inside, like a quiet goodbye. She turned to me. She smiled gently. "Mama," she said, "you are already a hero. You worked so hard. You helped all of us. You never gave up. That's enough." I smiled back, but my heart didn't agree. I didn't want to be a hero. I didn't want a medal. I didn't want a thank you. I wanted to go, just once, just for me. I didn't want to die with a jar full of broken dreams. That night, I didn't touch the jar. I didn't cook tamales. I just sat in my room and looked at the wall. I thought maybe it was time to stop, to let the dream go. The next day passed the same, then another, but then something happened, something small, something big. My grandson came to visit. He is young, full of energy, always laughing. He sat next to me and looked serious. "Grandma," he said, "I saw your jar." My heart jumped. I didn't say anything. I waited. He didn't laugh. He didn't joke. He looked at me with big eyes. "You are amazing," he said. "You believe in something, and you never give up. You keep going." I smiled. I didn't know what he was thinking. He didn't say more, just gave me a hug and left. I didn't expect anything. I thought maybe he just wanted to make me feel better. But 1 week later, everything changed. It was a sunny morning. I was in the kitchen making tea. I heard a knock at the door. I opened it. My grandson stood there holding a small envelope. He was smiling. "This is for you," he said. I was confused. I took the envelope. I opened it slowly. Inside was a paper, a ticket, a real plane ticket. I looked at it again. It had my name, Elena Martinez. The destination, Dubai. My hands shook. My knees felt weak. I looked at him. "What is this?" I asked. My voice was a whisper. "You're going," he said, "and you're not going alone. I'm coming with you." I didn't know what to say. I couldn't believe it. "But how?" I asked. "You're young. You need your money." He shrugged. "I saved some. I want to use it for this. You waited your whole life. Now it's time." I started to cry. Not loud, just tears falling down my face. I said, "I can't take this. It's too much." He said, "Grandma, it's not too much. It's love." I stood there with the ticket in my hand. I thought about the jar, about all the times I almost gave up, about the coins, the work, the long nights, the quiet prayers. I looked at my grandson. I saw the hope in his eyes. I knew this gift was not just money. It was a dream shared, a dream carried together. I wanted to say no. I wanted to say, "Keep your money." I wanted to protect him. But then I remembered, this was my time. I had waited long enough. So I took a deep breath. I looked at him. I said, "Thank you." That night I couldn't sleep. I held the ticket in my hands. I read my name again and again. I felt like a child, afraid and excited, happy and scared. I whispered, "This is real." After so many years, after so many tears, after so many stops and starts, I was going. Dubai was no longer a word in a magazine. It was waiting for me, and I was ready to go. Chapter 5. My first step into the sky. The day came. The morning felt quiet. The sun was soft through the window. I had packed my bag the night before. Not much, just some clothes, my passport, a small notebook, and the jar. It was empty now, but it came with me. It had to. That jar had held more than coins. It had held my dream, my tears, my strength, my faith. I placed it gently between my things and closed the zipper. My hands didn't shake. Not yet. I sat on the edge of the bed. I looked around the room, my home, my life, the quiet years, the busy years, the waiting years. I closed my eyes and whispered, "It's time." My grandson came to pick me up. He was smiling, full of energy. "Are you ready?" he asked. I nodded. I smiled too, but my heart was beating fast. We drove to the airport. So many cars, so many people. Everything moved so fast, too fast. My eyes looked everywhere, trying to understand. I held my ticket in one hand, my bag in the other. We walked through the doors, bright lights, announcements in different languages, lines and sounds. I felt small again, like a little girl in a big world. We reached the check-in counter. The woman looked at me kindly. "Passport and ticket, please." I gave them to her. She typed, then smiled. "Gate B12, she said. "Enjoy your flight." I nodded. I took my papers back. I held them tight. My name was there. Elena Martinez. Destination, Dubai. I showed the screen to my grandson. He grinned. "Let's go," he said. But my legs were heavy. Not from tiredness, from fear. I had waited so long for this, and now it was real. We walked slowly to the gate. I sat down and looked up. The big screen said, "Flight to Dubai." On time. My hands rested in my lap. My fingers touched the fabric of my bag. Inside was the jar. I thought of the days I filled it with coins. I thought of the nights I almost gave up. I thought of the voices that told me to stop. And the one voice, my own, that said, "Maybe now." People moved around me, talking, laughing, running. But I sat still. My mind was busy. I remembered the photo in the magazine, tall buildings, bright lights, a place that looked like another planet. A place I once couldn't even pronounce. And now, it was waiting for me. Not a dream anymore. A place with a ticket, with my name. I turned to my grandson. He was looking at me. "Are you excited?" he asked. I nodded. "Yes," I said softly. But my chest felt heavy. I was afraid. What if I didn't belong there? What if I was too old for this new world? What if I made a mistake? But then I remembered something my mother said long ago. If you walk slow but never stop, one day you will arrive. And I had walked slow for more than 60 years, but I never stopped. The announcement came. Now boarding for Dubai, gate B12. I stood up. My grandson held my hand. We walked to the gate. The woman scanned my ticket. She smiled. "Have a safe trip." I nodded. I stepped forward. My foot touched the ramp. That first step felt big, like crossing a river, like touching the sky. I looked back once, not with sadness, with pride. This was not the end. This was the start. We found our seats on the plane. I looked out the window. The world outside looked small. Cars, houses, roads, all tiny. My heart beat slower now, calmer. The plane moved. The wheels lifted. We rose into the air. My ears popped. My hands held the armrest. But I smiled. I smiled wide. I whispered to myself. I walked. I waited. I dreamed. And now I fly. That moment, high in the sky, I felt it. I was no longer just Elena from a small street with a tired back and an old dream. I was Elena, the woman who never let go, the woman who believed, the woman who made it. I closed my eyes. I didn't need to see Dubai yet. I already felt it. In the air, in my chest, in my soul. See you in the next video. Thanks.